The Israeli War Cabinet has reviewed military plans for a potential response against Iran. Talks in Jerusalem are locked on the timing and scale of Israel's response. According to reports, the War Cabinet members are mulling a painful strike that does not cause casualties. The question being, what are the options on Israel's table? To talk more on this, we're now being joined by Mr. Alex Tremin, CEO and Jerusalem Bureau Chief of Jewish News Syndicate, and he's joining us live from Jerusalem. Thank you so much for taking our time and joining us here on WION, Mr. Tremin.
Thank you for having me.
Now, the prospect of Israeli retaliation against Iran for its drone and missile attack at the weekend has West Asia on edge. The question in everybody's mind now is that how will Israel respond and how severe will it be?
Well, Israel's keeping its cards pretty close to its chest right now. People don't know exactly what Israel could or would do. For example, they could go after some of Iran's refineries, which are a major source of income for the country. They could potentially go after Iranian proxies, again in Syria and potentially in Lebanon or other places as well. And they could also decide that the time has come to launch a strike on Iran's nuclear facilities. So all these things are definitely in the cards, and Iran should definitely be wondering what Israel will do.
Right, Mr. Tremin, according to reports, Israel's war cabinet has studied options for painful retaliation, but has asserted on reducing casualties. You speak of how the Israeli war cabinet members, they've kept the options very close to their chest at the moment. But in such a scenario wherein it does want to inflict and attack Iran, but also reduce casualties, how is that supposed to pan out?
Well, Israel doesn't want to hurt the Iranian people. Israel actually believes that the Iranian people are potential allies of the Jewish state. It's only the Islamic Republic, the regime itself, that is the threat, as well as their weapons capabilities. So Israel is going to specifically target those things which can cause harm to Israel, but try to alleviate and reduce any kind of civilian casualties who are certainly not the target.
Right. Now, U.S. President Joe Biden told Netanyahu that the U.S., which helped Israel blunt the Iranian attack, will not participate in an Israeli counterstrike. Do you think that Israel will go forward with the strike on Iran if its allies are not backing?
I think Israel has to be prepared that the United States and other Western powers, even those that participated in the missile defense display that we saw on Saturday night here in Israel, that they don't support an Israeli retaliation because they do not want to see the region blow up into like a wider war. But at the same time, Israel needs to restore deterrence. They cannot allow Iran to fire 300 drones and 110 ballistic missiles at its country that crosses every red line, and Israel has to restore deterrence. And I believe that Israel is willing and ready to try to restore that deterrence, even if it doesn't have the support of its Western allies.
Right, Mr. Tremin, but how possibly can Israel, on the one hand, wants to show deterrence for the attack on Israel, but on the other hand, does not want to escalate tensions in West Asia? How are both these things going hand in hand?
Well, Israel doesn't want to escalate tensions in West Asia, but quite frankly, tensions have already been escalated. The war between Israel and Hamas that's been raging in Gaza, Hamas is a terror proxy of Iran. It gets 93% of its military budget from Iran. Since October 7th, Hezbollah, which is Iran's largest proxy, has fired over 2,000 rockets, anti-tank guided missiles, and drones at Israel. And the Houthis, which are Iranian proxy in Yemen, have been firing at Israel and also interrupting commercial traffic in the Red Sea, which is a major port for Israel. So the situation has already been escalated, and now Iran has fired directly ballistic missiles at Israel. So Israel doesn't want to escalate the situation, but at the same time, if Israel sits back, it's going to continue to be a punching bag of Iran and its terror proxies that are actively attacking it on a daily basis.
Right. You speak of how you've clearly outlined that Israel will have to hit back against Iran. There have been growing calls urging Israel to show restraint after the Iranian attack. Perhaps my last question to you is that what would stop Israel from going forward with an attack? The bigger question, obviously, is that will it?
I think that the only thing that can really prevent Israel from an attack would be if Western countries, and led by the United States and Western Europeans, would agree to put sanctions on Iran that were so crippling and take efforts that they haven't taken yet to try to undermine and overthrow the regime. Really, for Israel, the problem is the people with the fingers on the buttons of these missiles and wants to see regime change in Iran. If the United States and Western powers were committed to that regime change and showed actionable steps moving towards such a regime change, that could probably deter Israel from attacking militarily. If they don't see that, then they're going to believe that they have no choice and they're going to have to take action themselves.
Right, Mr. Treman, thank you so much for taking our time and joining us here on WION with your insights.
Thank you.